Welcome to FPL Selection. Today we'll review the 10 matches from Game Week 7 and see which players caught the eye and have been added to the watch list. Hit like and subscribe if you enjoy the video and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks. So first up was Bournemouth 3, Fulham 1. This was a fairly even game overall, but a couple of incredible goals there for Bournemouth. Just turned it round and then they got a late third on the counter to make it a lot more comfortable than it was. Semenyo got 2 goals and an assist. He's now only failed to get a return in one match this season. And with 60% ownership, he's pretty close to essential now. But I think everyone knows that at this point. Senesi failed to get the DEFCONs for the first time this season. But he has been consistently hitting high numbers. There's a few tougher fixtures to come in the next 4. So there's a good chance he's going to keep picking those up for the extra 2 points fairly consistently. And the other Bournemouth pick I'd look at would be Petrovic. He's possibly the best of the 4.5 million cheap goalkeepers. He's had save points 3 times this season, along with 3 clean sheets. So, yeah, he's a decent option to consider because there's not a lot to choose from at that price range. Then from a Fulham point of view, I think Anderson's really the only pick I would sort of look at the moment. He's hit DEFCON in 6 of the 7 games this season. Which is very good for someone at 4.5 million, and just getting those 4 points at the start of the game pretty much it's really good value. And Leeds 1, Spurs 2. Spurs were lucky to come away with a win in this one. I think Leeds played really well, created a lot of chances. Just Spurs were a little more clinical when the chances did come their way. I think Calvert-Lewin was again the magnet for all the Leeds chances, just his finishing wasn't up to scratch. He keeps getting in the right places though, and he's getting good minutes now. So I think at 5.5, he's going to go on a nice little run once he gets that first, proper goal. He's going to, bit of confidence, go on a little run again. And I think, 5.5 is a very good price for someone that's, probably going to get the majority of their goals. Rodon was unlucky not to score in the game. He hit the post. He just seems to get on the end of a set piece chance almost every game. He's hit DEFCON twice and he's only been one away on a couple of other occasions. So, I think he's one of the decent 4 million defenders, that could sit on your bench. For Spurs, Kudus finally got his first goal of the season. He's starting to emerge now as Tottenham's most important attacker. He's got 5 assists for the season. He plays almost all the minutes, and they've got some tougher games coming up now until December. I think, he's one to keep an eye on when the fixtures turn again, because I think, he's only going to get better the more he plays in this Spurs team. And then Vicario is one to consider as I think he's 5.1 million now, but he's had save points in 5 of the 7 games and 3 clean sheets. And I just think historically, Thomas Frank likes to set up quite defensively against the tougher opponents. And Spurs do have a fairly rough run of fixtures coming up. So I know it's counterintuitive, but I think sometimes, when a team sets up, to be defensive and not concede, sometimes that can, give you more chance of a clean sheet. And, we used to see Brentford do that in the tougher games under Frank and come away with some good results. So, just one to consider there, I think. And, if you think Flecken from the last 2 seasons would always get the save points and pick up some random clean sheets, might get something similar there with Vicario. And Arsenal 2, West Ham 0. Dominant win for Arsenal without blowing West Ham away. They had all the possession, all the chances went their way, and very comfortable in the end. Gabriel picked up 9 points with a bonus point in there, along with his DEFCON. If he keeps hitting the DEFCON, most weeks now, with Arsenal's high potential for clean sheets, his threat at set pieces, I think he's probably going to be the number 1 defender pick in the game. And it's difficult to argue against having him, really. And then just one I wanted to pick out that wasn't, the most obvious Arsenal option is Declan Rice. He's averaging over 6 points a game so far this season. He's had a goal, 3 assists. He's had DEFCONs in a couple of games. He just seems to have the license to get forward a lot more in the easier fixtures. And when he does play the tougher games, he's getting very high numbers on the DEFCON. He's taken all the free kicks for Arsenal. He's on corners on one side, so he's just got so many routes to points. And he's always going to play the majority of the minutes as well. So I think for 6.5 million, I know it's not quite as exciting as having the likes of Saka or Eze, but if you want consistency over the long term, he's really putting up good numbers so far this season. And Saka played his first 90 minutes in the league since the opening day. He's probably going to get subbed earlier in a lot of games this season because they're going to, want to try and keep him from getting injured and not overplay him this year. But the quality is there. Just every week you're expecting something from him. We think he's going to be the number one penalty taker now, although he might be sharing them with Gyökeres a bit like he did last year with Odegaard. And they've got good fixtures for the rest of the year, Arsenal. So, yeah, someone like Saka is just, you bring him in now and you just keep him for them a good chunk of the season. From West Ham point of view, can't really be judged after 2 games under Nuno, especially against a team like Arsenal. I think the defence will get a lot better the more they train under Nuno, but obviously that's a bit of a wait and see for now. I think Bowen's a little bit expensive at 7.7 for a low scoring team. I imagine Nuno's going to concentrate on defence first. So for me, I'm only really interested in Paquetá at the moment. I know I keep sort of calling him out most weeks, but he's averaging over 4 points a game, just 5.9 million. He's got lots of routes to points, and he's now on the corners for them as well as the penalties. So I think he's one that's a good long-term pick, and a bit of a new manager bounce, players number 10 potentially. I think there's going to be some points there for Paquetá coming soon. And United 2, Sunderland 0. Good performance from United and a deserved win. But Sunderland had their moments, and they still continue to look a level above what we'd expect from a newly promoted side. And they certainly didn't give it easy to United. Sesko got his goal. It's now back-to-back goals for him and another 90 minutes under his belt. He's looking a lot sharper each week. Keeps getting himself in the right places. And, United have got a decent run of fixtures for the rest of the year after the Liverpool game. So, if he does become United's main goal scorer, which, does seem to be the plan, obviously, as a centre-forward, United are the best in the league for shots and expected goals. The chances of being created there. So, if he can fulfill his potential and be the one to score the majority of the goals, then, he's going to be someone to look at in a few weeks' time. Bruno Fernandes, he had a great effort tipped onto the bar. Just continues to be the highest chance creator in the league. He's always, he always gets one good chance in every match to score. It's still questionable whether he's on penalties, obviously with the 2 misses this season. But he's just got so many ways to score points. He's going to play the majority of the minutes. And, for an attack that's putting up very good numbers and, improving each week. So, I think still Fernandes is a good pick for United. And from a Sunderland point of view, Rufus had another great game. He got a save point. That was the 5th time this season he's picked up a save point, along with the 3 clean sheets he's had. So, they're a mid-table defence at the moment, Sunderland, at just 4.5. He's a nice cheap goalkeeper if you don't want to spend the extra. And averaging almost 6 points a game, it's very good value. Then looking at the centre-backs, Mukiele got the DEFCONs this week, and that's 4 out of 5 for him. He was only 1 short in the other week, and obviously Alderete's gone up in price after his 17-pointer a couple of weeks ago. So, I think Mukiele is a decent choice as well if, you really only got 4 million in the bank. He's a decent choice either way. And Chelsea 2, Liverpool 1. There's a late winner for Chelsea in this one, when a draw probably would have been a fair result based on the chances in the game. Caicedo got his 3rd goal of the season. Obviously not likely to continue at that rate, but his DEFCON numbers are so high. He's only missed out by 1 in the last 2 games. So he's starting at 4 points per game, and he's obviously got the potential to add a few more goals and assists along the way. 5.8 million, I think we've got to really start considering him seriously because, that's really consistent on the points. Even without the goals, it's very good for his price. Enzo didn't get any returns against Liverpool, but he did have a great chance to score near the end at a header, just arriving late in the box. And that's something he's just been doing all season. He does it every week. I think there's a good chance, he's going to score maybe up to 10 goals this season, the way that he gets himself in the box. Chelsea have got some great fixtures for the next sort of run, about 6 to 8 games. And he's likely to be on penalties with Palmer being out injured. I think at the moment Palmer's maybe out to the next international break, so at least the next sort of 3 or 4 games for Enzo. Could be the pick over Pedro now for Chelsea, I think. The other Chelsea player on radar at the moment is Chalobah. He was suspended for the Liverpool game, but if you take away that Brighton game where he got the red card, he's averaging over 7 points a game this season. He's hit DEFCON 3 out of the 5 games he's started. He was 1 away on another occasion, and the West Ham game where they won it basically inside the hour was the other one where he didn't get it. So he's a real threat at set pieces as well. Like I said earlier, Chelsea have got a great run of fixtures now for pretty much the rest of the year. And he's 1 million cheaper than Cucurella. So, yeah, I think he's one that, could be a real consideration for the nice run that Chelsea have got. And from Liverpool, it's hard to pick out any of their players at the moment, especially with some tough games in the next 6. But it's worth noting that Isak started ahead of Ekitike for the Chelsea game. See a bigger game there. He's played 75 minutes plus in the last 2 league games, and he played 2 full games for Sweden over the international break. So he's probably getting very close to full fitness now. And when he is fully up to speed and this Liverpool team, does gel, I think there's no doubt he's going to get chances. And, we've seen it with him, the quality of his finishing, he'll take them. So if he does start against United this coming week, I think we're going to be pretty sure that he's going to start the majority of the games. And, he could well be the Liverpool attacker to go for ahead of Salah. And Villa 2, Burnley 1. Villa got the win, but probably should have scored more with the chances they had. Dubravka had an excellent game, and he's the one that kept the score down at 2-1, really. Marlon got 2 goals. It was only his second start of the season. He had a really good pre-season, but hasn't had the minutes that sort of you were thinking he was going to get after those performances in pre-season. Villa have struggled for goals so far, but he should get a few more starts now after getting those 2 goals. But obviously a watch and wait. It was Buendia last week. It's Marlon this week. I think we're still, waiting to see, what is going to be the first choice 11 for Villa there. And it's probably the same story with Rodgers. He's a back-to-back assists now. He had a couple of chances to score in this game. So hopefully this is the start of him, getting close to the form he had last season. But we can see how he does in the next 3 before bringing him in. Although some of those tougher games probably do suit him playing on the counter, with his ability to carry the ball. I think at his price, I think he's 7 million or just short. It's, wait and see on him, I think. And from Burnley, Anthony is the clear talisman for them at 5.7. Although, it is difficult to see them scoring too many goals. And then Dubravka is obviously the clear budget goalkeeper option in the game. And if I was on a wild card this week, I'd have him and probably wouldn't have any of the centre-backs from Burnley now, as I think there's better options from other teams. And Everton 2, Palace 1. Good close game this one. I think Palace will feel they should have killed the game off when they were 1-0 up. Had some really good chances. But Everton came back and managed to get the late winner there. And Dye got his first penalty this season, which he put away well. Could have had an assist as well. He made the cross for Beto's header just before Grealish got the rebound and scored. He's been very consistent with his points this season in Dye. He's had goals, assists, DEFCON. He's just got a lot of ways to score points, and I think that's why I just prefer him over Grealish at the moment. And then from the defence, Tarkowski hit the DEFCON 6 out of 7 games this season for him. He also got a bonus point. He's averaging 4.5 points per game so far, and they've only had 2 clean sheets. So I think if Everton can tighten up at the back, we could, regularly seeing him get 8 points, which, is obviously really good at 5.5 million. From Palace, Mateta is still the attacker I'd go for. He missed another couple of great chances in this game, and he's just not quite finding his finishing at the moment, but he keeps getting the chances. And I think Palace, one of the best teams for expected goals this season so far. He's going to keep getting the starts, I'm sure. And yeah, once he does get that first one, yeah, we'll probably see him go on one of those little runs where he scores in several games in a row. Then from the defence, I think it just changes every week. You could pick any of them, probably apart from Mitchell. Munoz got his first goal and hit the DEFCON this week. I think if Munoz can be more consistent with the DEFCONs, you know, he's always going to get the attacking returns because he does play so high up the pitch. And he has been unlucky a few times this season not to get a few goals and assists. So he could be the one that turns out to be the number one pick if he can start hitting those DEFCONs. But yeah, I don't think you can go wrong really with any of the Palace defence at the moment because they're all got good routes to points and obviously a very good defence. Newcastle 2, Forest 0. Very comfortable win for Newcastle. Forest barely created anything and Newcastle probably should have scored 1 or 2 more. Voltemada's scored 3 in his first 4 games. And looks like he's probably the number 2 choice for penalties. He's had a couple of great chances in open play in this one too. So I think he's probably going to start a lot of the games until we see Visser come back. Newcastle got a great run of fixtures until Christmas. So yeah, at the moment he seems to be the standout attacker for Newcastle. Then from the defence, I think Thiaw has been quietly doing well in his first 3 starts. He's hit DEFCON in 2 of the games, and then in this Forest game, he was never going to hit DEFCONs because they just didn't really threaten their Forest. But he managed to get 2 bonus points in the game, so you know he's finding ways to points. You know he was likely bought to be the first choice eventually, but he's just ended up getting into the team a bit sooner with the injuries. So he may very well be first choice now and stay in the team. So he's probably now more likely to get the DEFCON ahead of Dan Burn, who's going to have to play left back for a little while now with injuries to Livramento and Hull. So I think Thiaw could be the one to go for potentially now from the defenders. But if you want to be a little bit more safe, Pope is probably slightly safer on the minutes, you'd say. At the minute, he's playing really well. He's a top scoring keeper so far. Newcastle had 5 clean sheets. He regularly getting save points as well as, hitting decent numbers on the bonus. So I think for 5.1 million, he's probably the best Newcastle defensive pick and potentially the best goalkeeper pick in the game at the moment. And from Forest, I don't think there's anyone to recommend at the moment. I mean, Anderson's hitting the DEFCON quite regularly for 5.4 million, but they've got a bad run of fixtures for the rest of the year. So I think they're in a void really until we see some improvement from them. And Wolves won, Brighton won. Fair result in the end. Brighton had a lot of possession and shots, but Wolves did create the better chances in the game. I think Strand Larsen slowly building up his fitness. He was unlucky with an effort that hit the post in this one. He's going to be the main talisman for them. He's on penalties. They've got Sunderland and Burnley next. So I think, if you want to get on him early, he could potentially turn out to be a really good option. But it's just obviously seeing how he gets back to full fitness after being injured earlier in the season. And then Arias is another interesting one. He looked very lively again in this game. He missed a really good chance. He skied over the bar, but yeah, he's one to monitor because he's looked a lot better in the last couple of games. From a Brighton point of view, it's really not that easy to pick out, who might be the potential picks. I mean, Van Heck got the goal this week and he's been the better one for DEFCONs, but Brighton don't really keep enough clean sheets and he only gets DEFCON in the tougher games. So, yeah, we'll keep an eye on him, but I'm not too excited about the Brighton defence at the moment. And from their attack, I think Minter's the pick. He's averaging 4 points a game so far, which is pretty decent for 6 million. So, yeah, probably the most exciting there of their attackers. Then Brentford 0, City 1. City had the chances to make the scoreline more comfortable, but they were never really threatened in the game. Haaland scored again, and he's probably the must-have player at the moment. Not much more can be said about him, really. I think you just got to get him in your team, and he's going to be the captain most weeks at the moment. Reinders was well involved in City's attacks in this one. He had a great effort saved by Kelleher. I still think he's the best second City pick at 5.8 million. He's averaging over 4 points per game, which is very good for that price. From Brentford, Thiago's the talisman for the team. He had a great chance, going clean through, but just took a heavy touch and just made the chance difficult for him. Good save from Donnarumma. And from the defence, interestingly, Hickey started the last 2 games at left wing back, and he's another 4 million option. So one to keep an eye on there, especially when Brentford's fixtures improve coming up to that next international break. So that's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.